Oi, oi, sinner to winner here. How are we doing? Sinner to winner. Have you had your chicken dinner? Look at this, we've got like a little studio going on. No more car. We are in an apartamento and we've got a little backlight. Look at that. Look, it's progress, not perfection, right? So we've gone from living in someone else's place on the couch, stroke occasionally in a car, to now sometimes in a car doing the videos, to now boom, sinner to winner. He's got his own apartment. Soon he'll have his own recording equipment, but for now we're still doing it on a phone, but we've got a backlight. We're working with the iPhone mic. It's good enough, isn't it? Progress, not perfection. And today it's all about the journey. It's all about the journey, isn't it? And like one of my favorite mugs says, 2 seconds. You got to remember to enjoy the journey, baby. Enjoy the journey. That's what it's all about. The things, they don't matter. It's the journey, it's the flow. You know what I mean? Enjoy it. It's just a ride. It's just a ride. Stick around long enough, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs. I like this, man. I like this. I like standing and doing it. I'm feeling the energy. I'm feeling the energy. So we are on page 13 of Bill's story. And he's with his friend. And he's discovering we left off last week, and I love that line, the scales of pride and prejudice fell from his eyes. You know what I mean? He's having an awakening, he's coming to, he's getting that humble pie. Like this is what a lot of us need as addicts. I'm loving this backlight. What a backlight. A lot of it, what we need as addicts is we need our comeuppance. We need that moment where we're willing to listen. We're willing to look. We're willing to engage into something that's not, of our own selfish thinking, and maybe look at a different angle and eat a bit of this humble pie, right? So listen, we've got a sweet spot. Bill's in the sweet spot. Ebby's got him. He's found him and he's helping him. Let's read on. The real significance of my experience in the cathedral burst upon me. For a brief moment, I had needed and wanted God. There had been a humble willingness to have him with me, and he came. I'll stop there. This is something, whether you believe in God, right, and you're watching this and you have a conception of God, or you're watching this and you don't believe in God, trust me, I have heard so many people in and out of the rooms of 12-step, in and out of the rooms of recovery, people telling their stories that when the shit hit the fan, when they were in need of help, they knew somehow to call on to something that they didn't understand. They were making deals with something that they didn't understand. It usually went like this: if you can help me, if you can get me out of this scrape, I'll do anything. Why is that in us as human beings? Why do we know that? Why do we know there's something we can talk to, something that might be able to help us? What is in us? What is running through our veins, metaphorically, so to speak, that we know there is something out there, this all-knowing, all-watching energy, spirit of the universe that's available to even make a deal with? Why do we know that? It's like I said before, it's like a baby coming out of the womb and it knows to breastfeed. Nobody told it, it's just in there because it's the way it's made. It's like any animal comes out and knows what to do. It's just the way it's made. And maybe we just know because that's just what's in us. It's in us, right? He with me, and he came. But soon the sense of his presence had been blotted out by worldly clamours, mostly those within myself, and so it had been ever since. How blind I had been. We'll stop there. I don't know about you, but I tell you what gets in the way for me of God a lot of times is like this man-made world. For instance, money. Think about it now, just take a second. Money is completely made up. It's man-made. It has zero value. It's something man just made it up. It's literally just made up. It's not real. It's not real at all. It's as real as Santa Claus, right? And yet look at how people change their beliefs, their morals, their values, their interactions on something that's as real as Santa Claus in the sense of value and in the sense of what it actually means, in the sense of did it exist on this planet that we're on at one point. It was something we just made up. Wow. And yet it gets in the way of God, it gets in the way of this higher power, it gets in the way of what's us looking at what really is going on here. How blind I had been. So he's coming to, he's able to see, he's getting that pride and prejudice leaving his eyes. At the hospital, I was separated from alcohol for the last time. Treatment seemed wise, for I showed signs of delirium tremens. So he's saying here, like, Bill's also accepting outside help. He's having treatment. I don't know what, but he's alluding to the fact that maybe he's taking something or getting help from others to help with his physical ailments, the physical withdrawals of alcohol. And he's not going to drink again, apparently. There I humbly offered myself to God as I then understood him, to do with me as he would. I placed myself unreservedly under his care and direction. I admitted for the first time that of myself I was nothing, that without him I was lost. I ruthlessly faced my sins and became willing to have my newfound friend take them away, root and branch. I have not had a drink since. Wow. Look at this. By the way, do not get caught up on the language. If you find them calling God him or his higher power, he calls it him or he. That's just Bill's version of how he's writing it. This is Bill's story, okay? Allow Bill his version. It doesn't have to be yours. You can call it she, you can call it, you can call it Trudy. Whatever you want, you can call it. This is Bill, okay? Bill is not God. As he said before, and as Ebby's told him, you can have your own conception of that. So don't get caught up on the language. So often, I think as an addict and as a human, we want to get caught up on the language of things. And words have been bastardized, okay? There's prejudice to words. There's feelings attached to words. I've spoke about this before. It's how you learn another language. The way you'd learn, like I learn Portuguese because my daughter lives in Brazil currently and she speaks Portuguese predominantly. You have to learn this by attaching feelings to the words, okay? So when you say thank you, you'd say obrigado. When you say obrigado, you should feel thankful, like, muito obrigado, obrigado. You know, you have to feel it to learn it. And so we attach negative feelings to words sometimes, like God, like Jesus. Like if we're a woman and we hear him, the higher power, he, we go, hang on a minute. Why is he a he? Well, listen, it's a he because that's Bill's conception. So just relax, take a little step back, and remember you can have your own conception. All you need to do is have this willingness to believe. And here he is, Bill is believing because his schoolmate has visited him. My schoolmate visited me and I fully acquainted him with my problems and deficiencies. We made a list of people I had hurt or toward whom I felt resentment. I expressed my entire willingness to approach these individuals, admitting my wrong. Never was I to be critical of them. I was to right all such matters to the utmost of my ability. And here we have the 4th and 5th step and following up to the 9th step really, where you have direct amends except when it would injure or harm others. Sometimes you can have a living amends. An example of this would be, and we'll get more into this as we go into the book, but you know, there might be somebody that you wronged that you'll never see again. They could have passed away or you just don't know them anymore or you just don't know where they are. Well, what you can do, you can take away the interaction that you had and how you should have acted, and then you can take that into a living amends. An example off the bat might be, you were in traffic and this is just something off the top of my head, you flipped somebody off and you felt bad about that, and it made your resentment list. Interactions in traffic, road rage. I wish I hadn't done that. I didn't need to berate that person or call them a name or make them cry in traffic. You're never going to see that person again, the likelihood is. But what you can do, you can have a living amends where now when you engage in driving, you do so with more patience, more calmness, and you never take anybody's inventory, you never take anything personal, and you will drive accordingly, remembering that interaction, and you turn that darkness into light. That would be an example of a living amends. Where are we on the page? Never was I to be critical of them. I was to right all such matters to the utmost of my ability. That's important. Keep your side of the street clean. Forget about theirs. Remember, like Michael Jackson said, man in the mirror. If you want to make a change, man in the mirror, keep the focus on yourself. It's the serenity prayer. The only thing you have control over, the only thing that you have power over is yourself. And even then, you need a little help, right? You know how hard it is to change yourself, ladies and gentlemen. You know how hard it is to change yourself. Can you think how hard it is to try and change somebody else? The best way is your example. I was to test my thinking by the new God-Consciousness within. Common sense would thus become uncommon sense. I was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for direction and strength to meet my problems as He would have me. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my request bore on my usefulness to others. Then only might I expect to receive, but that would be in great measure. Wow. I mean, here he talks about meditation without saying meditation. He was to sit quietly when in doubt, asking only for direction and strength to meet my problems as He would have me. You know, just asking for guidance. Never was I to pray for myself, except as my request bore on my usefulness to others. Then only might I expect to receive. But that would be in great measure. Wow. Wow, it's like that. It comes to mind, the hymn, love is something if you give it away, give it away, give it away. Love is something if you give it away, you end up having more. There we go, we got a little sing-song in, didn't we, after all? So there you go, boys and girls, page 13. Thy will, not my will. Amen. Vá com Deus.